Welcome back to the Pokemon Black No Experience playthrough. Last time, we took refuge from the storm and stayed the night in this place, Lacunosta Town, which felt kind of deserted. Now, it's morning, so I guess we can finally see this town as it's sort of supposed to be seen, how the people are living out their daily lives. But first, we're going to go after Kyurem this episode, and for that, well, I've got something a little special planned. You see, the Three Swords of Justice, they've fought Kyurem before and kind of got horribly beaten. They're out for some revenge this time. I really felt it necessary to bring the three of them along for the ride. I know they're actually probably almost... Kyurem is almost double their level, but I felt like I needed to bring them. Which is kind of annoying, because it means I get only 3 slots for other Pokemon, but still. Oh, and most of the people here, despite the fact that they're now outside, most of them say exactly the same stuff they did before. Yeah, so there isn't much difference in NPC dialogue, except in one very notable case that I'm gonna show soon. Oh, that guy no longer mentions that that the Pokemon always comes back at night. And I believe that Pokemon is the Minchino that you can see up here. I always get their names confused. Yeah, be sure to come back at night, otherwise you might get devoured by Kyurem. But anyway, he's saying the same stuff. But what about his grandma? Yep, it's finally time to get the full story of this town. And yes, she does in fact tell you the full story if it's not nighttime. Here she is, actually, in the area overlooking the giant chasm itself. So, now I want to hear this. So, yep, we heard that before. Ah, it was a huge meteor. Okay, that's interesting. A monster was inside the meteor. Well, that's certainly creepier than the story you mentioned before. And now we finally have the full story. That is, until they disappear mysteriously at night. And in this case, the old tradition is in fact true. If we look very closely, we can see in the distance the actual cave that we'll need to go to. But, old tradition though it is, let's liberate this town finally from the fear of this monster. But in order to get to the giant chasm, we actually have to go through Route 13 first. How fitting, 13 being, well, supposedly an unlucky number. Despite the fact that there have been a lot of lucky events in real life that have been associated with the number 13, but anyway, if we push that boulder aside, then we could actually get to the giant chasm directly. But for now, I'm going to clear out a couple of trainers here. Now, I'm not actually going to be going fully through Route 13 this episode. This is going to focus on getting to the giant chasm. After we've done that and caught Kyurem, then I'll explore the rest of this route, because it leads to our next destination. And a Buneary is not going to pose much of a problem to Iron Man. Destroy that admittedly adorable little bunny. And I have a soft spot for bunnies now that, well, any of you who know my really history with Fire and Awakening will know that I like bunnies. Never mess with a bunny or you might go extinct. As Wellheart has found out many, many times. Ah-ha-ha-ha! Well, unfortunately this bunny is definitely going to go extinct. Sorry, you are not a real bunny. No real bunny is that fail. Oh, and here, look, this is interesting. I'm going to go show off something. Iron Head time. But wait, where's the super effective sound? This was before Generation 6, and well, it still did quite a lot of damage and flinched it, but yeah. And this is going to be not very effective. Yeah, this was before Gen 6. Snubble and Granbull are in fact normal types now. Just putting it out there for those of you who are used to Gen 6. Get that type advantage memorization back. You kind of got to turn your brain back a generation. Snubble, Granbull, normal times. I hate Spore. At least Shroobish learned Spore at a much lower level than it used to, because originally... Okay, I'm going to show off something else that's different between generations. If this was Generation 6, well, that wouldn't have happened, because my Mandibuzz has the Overcoat ability. If this was Generation 6, Overcoat would have made Mandibuzz immune to Spore, as you can see right there. Overcoat in this generation only protects damage from weather, which is really just Sandstorm and Hail, and if Overcoat was around when Shadow Sky was around, then maybe Shadow Sky, but anyway. The developers clearly thought that Overcoat was a bit underpowered, considering that it only protects from 2 things. Honestly, not helped by the fact that the vast majority of Pokemon that get the Overcoat ability are either Steel types, and thus immune to one of the damaging weathers anyway, or in the case of Reuniclus, oh, yeah, Reuniclus. The sad fact is that Overcoat is utterly pointless on Reuniclus because its other ability, Magic Guard, makes it immune to weather anyway, and does more. So, really, yeah, there's no reason to use Overcoat on Reuniclus prior to Generation 6, because, again, Magic Guard blocks weather damage and other kinds of damage as well. So, again, absolutely zero reason to actually do that. And I noticed there that I've actually already got a couple of rare candies. That is very, very important, because I might be needing a few of them soon. But anyway, I just want to check if I have any Awakenings, and I don't, so I'll have to waste a full heal. I prefer to use full heals anyway, it's just more convenient buying them. Oh hey, no encounters, that's interesting. But we didn't have an encounter with a youngster here. Well, depends on what you consider strong. My Pokemon can't get experience, but they are relatively high level. Depends on what you've got. Hi, Astor. Oh, Ninkata, right then. The real question is, are you strong? And the answer to that question is, no. Right. Goodbye, Ninkata. I could totally destroy with Reshiram if I wanted, but I'm not going to. Actually, that could hurt a fair amount, so, guess what? I'm gonna go switch in, Bones. It's pretty useful having a flying type. Aha! That does not work! And I have only one flying move, and I'll just go ahead and payback. Yeah, it's better when you hit last with payback. Again, it's better when you hit last with payback, otherwise you don't do that. But for the time being, really? I'll just finish it with Bone Rush so as not to waste PP. Really? Okay, Bone Rush I believe has 90% accuracy. How did I miss twice with Bone Rush? Yeah, this is a pretty good indication of how my luck usually... And I'm just checking just to be sure. Yep, 90% accuracy. So, I missed twice with a 90% accuracy move. Okay, good, hit the 3rd time. Seriously, missing twice? That's what? That's... yeah, that's 1 in 10 times 1 in 10. That's 1 in 20. Anyway, hopefully this thing should go down quickly, provided I don't miss with Fly 2. Oh, that could be bad. That could be very, very bad. Vivillon is probably a better user of Quiver-Dance than Mothim, but still, Quiver-Dance does give Mothim a slight... Well, I mean, Mothim was pretty stupidly worthless before, but... And it's down. Anyway. And I forgot he had... Well, we've certainly answered the question of whether you're strong or not. Hi, Metapod. You might actually survive this, though, with the Harden. Why is it that trainers' Metapods only have Harden and nothing else? I mean, seriously, you didn't learn anything from that early anime episode? Yeah, having a Metapod with only Harden is a very bad idea, especially when you go up against another Metapod. Then things just get really boring. Anyway, I'm gonna see if I can take this thing out with... I really don't know why I did this, actually. Yeah, it's still just using Harden. Not like that's gonna really do much good at this point. Again, like, if you actually evolve... Well, okay, well, the real question is, though, what the hell is this guy doing with a Metapod this high level? Like, I mean, really. I mean, if it evolves at level 10, you'd probably have evolved it by now. He probably just caught it on the previous route in the white version when you do get Metapods coming at that level. Oh, that's actually kind of nice. Anyway, we can go down this way to head towards the coast. I have a slight suspicion that Fisherman is a trainer, and I have a suspicion that that guy's an artist, so I won't talk to him. I also have a suspicion that I need a surf user to actually get to the giant chasm, and I might be correct. Because going down this way leads to the next city. This guy, though, we know he can't be a trainer, because no trainer uses this sprite, so yeah, he's going to give us an item. A King's Rock. I'm still a little annoyed about the King's Rock flinch some kid got against me in a tournament. Yeah, King's Rock critical hit off the first turn, and that cost me the game because it hit my Trick Room user. Anyway, speaking of things that are not a good idea in competitive play, this house teaches you the Elemental Hyper Beams. Nice segue there. The Blazing Fire-type Pokemon, of which there keep being more. And yes, there's one more to each group now, but anyway, these are the Elemental Hyper Beams. They are not good, don't use them. Well, at least, they can be alright. I mean, even in Nuzlocke, they can be okay sometimes, if you just really need to KO something really, really quickly. But in competitive play, don't use them, just don't. I admit I have an Empoleon that still has Hydro Cannon. That's mostly because I couldn't actually find a good thing to put on its 4th move slot. And I do think I need Surf Drat. But really, I never actually ended up using Hydro Cannon. Like, I mean, I admit that sometimes they can be useful in 3 versus 3 when your opponent is down to their last Pokemon and you want to get rid of it like really soon. But basically, in a lot of cases, they're even worse than Self-Destructing Explosion, because with those moves, you're not giving your opponent a free turn afterwards, and you get to switch afterwards. But with Hyper Beams just stuck in. Anyway, apparently this Wingull has lost some grams. When I first read that, I thought they just meant that it had lost weight, because grams are a unit of measurement in the metric system, which I don't want to sound offensive here, but which I still think most people should use. Apparently the only reason America hasn't converted to the metric system is because it would just be way too much effort changing every single state to use metric. And I do understand why, like that really does kind of make sense, but still. Oh, Imperial measurements are so illogical. I feel really sorry for my parents and grandparents because they actually had to learn those growing up. We didn't switch, I forgot when Australia switched to metric, but I know that we did use Imperial for quite a while, which, weird measurements. Anyway, Camerupt. I missed 3 times in one episode with Bone Rush. That's ridiculous, and I get burned. Typical of my luck when it comes to Pokemon games, I will say. Typical. Yeah, I am, again, like, if anyone's watched Chugga Conroy's Pokemon playthroughs, I'm like the exact inverse of him. I always get horrible luck with just about everything when it comes to Pokemon games. I mean, I never really... 1 Bone Rush, 2 Bone Rush, watch it stop there, and it did! Like I said, my luck. Okay, let's try this again. 1 Bone Rush, 2 Bone Rush, 3 Bone Rush. You couldn't have got more, could you? See, that's the law of multi-hitting moves. You never hit 5 times. Your opponents always hit 5 times, and critical multiple of those 5 hits. That's why, when you look at, I think Maryland always gets worried about multi-hitting moves in Nuzlocke, and yeah. Oh, that poor, I probably shouldn't say what Pokemon it was, but early on one of its Pokemon died due to only hitting twice with one of those moves, like just several times, and it was just really painful. Admittedly, it probably wouldn't have survived anyway, because it was a rock type going up against a grass type with Leech Seed and Mega Drain, but still. That's actually pretty apt description. So you'll see that we're finding some Pokemon like Solrock and Drifblim here, but of course this isn't Dark Grass, we can get them at higher levels later. Oh, and if my nose sounds a bit I mean, if you hear weird sounds when my voice when I'm actually talking here, it's because I've just got over a cold recently. Yeah, I've now been sick a grand total of 4 times this 1 uni semester. Again, example of my luck, but still. Let's see what happens if we give this 1 gram to Wingull. Let's have it gain a tiny amount of weight. Rig. And we need 2 more. I'll just point out right now, I do not find the next 2 in this episode. That'll be for, well, not the next episode, but next time. And you might wonder why I'm not using repels. There's a certain wild Pokemon that I would really like to actually show here. Not because I'm going to catch it, but because it's very, very interesting. Yes, Swellows are blindingly fast, even when you're many, many levels higher than... Really? Wow! Well, I mean, I know that they're fast, but still, ugh. Surely I'll be able to get away now. There we go. Okay, right. Going back because I need to get a Surfer. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling that I would need Surf at first. I haven't explored this area in a long time, so I kind of forgot that I needed Surf to progress. I mean, to go to the Giant Chasm. Because, yeah, in Black and White 2, you can go to the Giant Chasm without Surf, because you have to go there, but this time it's completely optional. And it's a little out of the way, so I'm going to go ahead and withdraw, break out the Golduck. For those of you who don't know why he's named that, is it a he? Yes, it's a he. Why he's named that, it's because for some reason he... had this tendency to break out of Dust Balls on 1 HP. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and check something. Okay, so... Actually, I think we're all good. So, let's go and head over to that water where we can get into the Giant Chasm. Yeah, I annoyingly didn't realize that you had to have Surf before, and Wild Pokemon. Now, if you're asking why I'm not actually catching anything here, it's because just about everything available here is either not really of that much use to me, or you can get it at a higher level later. In fact, we'll be seeing a lot of these Pokemon at a much higher level in this very part, so don't worry. 1 step, really? I hate it when that happens. Yeah, we can actually get higher level Golbats, very soon, so there's very little reason to bother with the wild Pokemon here. Again, in the very next area, most of them will be available at much higher levels, and I mean much, much higher. Right then, if we just surf over here, just around these rocks, we can go up here and find ourselves an item. This here is a Prism Scale, which is used to evolve Feebas into Melodic Fire Trading, because the beauty stat does not exist anymore. You know, I'm wondering what will actually happen in the Ruby Sapphire remakes, I just realized. They're probably going to have to bring back the... Speaking of which, I actually just thought of something a little while ago. I'm wondering if they're actually going to integrate the Pokeblocks with Pokemon Me, as in, you'll be feeding your Pokemon the Pokeblocks on Pokemon Me. That would actually make a lot of sense. But anyway, enough remake speculation. Now it's on to the Giant Chasm, where we really can't see anything with all this fog. There is Dark Grass here, but that's not actually the higher level wild Pokemon area that I was talking about. I just wanted to check out this Shaking Grass because you can get some really, really cool stuff in Shaking Grass now. Like, I believe Crobats appear in this area in Shaking Grass. Sadly, most of the time you'll still be getting Mordinos, which are of no use to me in a no experience run. Now, I basically just searched around here for ages wanting to get a certain Pokemon to show up. This took way too long. But here it is, Absol. Yes, Absol appears in this area, and the reason why I wanted to show this is because it's actually fairly significant. Now, if you know the Pokedex, you'll know that Absol appears before humans to warn them of disasters. Well, now, remember the areas where Absol has appeared throughout the series. Now, for some reason, the original Ruby and Sapphire didn't really follow this pattern, but in a lot of the other games, in Platinum, Absol appears in Mount Coronet, just before the final confrontation with Team Galactic. That's certainly a major disaster. Diamond and Pearl, Absol appeared near Lake Valor, which ends up getting blown up by Team Galactic. In Pokemon X and Y, Absol appeared just before the Team Flare subplot started. So that was certainly, eventually, would have led to big disaster for the world. And in one of the Ranger games, apparently, Absol appears in an area where the villainous team shows up. So, why is Absol showing up near the Giant Chasm? Well, if you'll know the legend that the people of the town were saying, then disaster usually happens to anyone who goes in here. Turns out, though, that's probably not the reason why Absol is appearing here. Let's just say something pretty big is going to happen here in a couple of years' time, and I'll just leave it at that for now. I just really love this extra detail. I mean, admittedly, it could also be Absol appearing on Route 13, because 13 is an unlucky number, but I like this attention to detail, where Absol always does tend to appear in areas where a disaster will occur eventually, and it is like warning you. But anyway, here we are inside the giant chasm. And we'll need strength to access quite a few items here. Fortunately, strength is not that bad of a move, so it's not really that much of a waste of a move slot. Now, if we go around the outside here, definitely want to use repels, and definitely want to equip the dowsing machine so we can find some items here. Tiny mushroom's not that useful, but in here we got a star piece before, another star piece. These things can either be traded for, I believe, PP ups at Anvil Town, or they can be sold for a lot of money, but there's something here very special that you will definitely want to get. This is a Comet Shard. A Comet Shard is basically a star piece that sells for much, much more, and that's really saying something. These things can get you a whole ton of money. I believe this is the only one that's very easily obtainable, though. You can actually get them. They're occasionally held by certain wild Pokemon. You can push that boulder from the other side to open up a shortcut here, but I don't really see it's that necessary. I'll just go and look up what Pokemon give them, because I believe it's only a 1% chance, so it's very, very low. Okay, so apparently they're a 1% chance, like I thought, and I thought so. They're held by Lunatone and Solrock, but also Clefairy and Clefable, and apparently only the ones that appear in Darkgrass have a chance of holding them, so I mean, it's only, again, 1% chance, so very, very, very rare. So this is probably the only Comet Shard you have easy access to, so save it when you really, really need money. Of course, we'll be getting a lot of valuable items quite soon. But anyway, into the Crater Forest, where I'm going to bring up the wild Pokemon list. As you can see here, the Pokemon in this area are very high level. In fact, they are the highest level wild Pokemon you can get in grass in the entire game. Now, you can get certain Pokemon at like level 70 by fishing, but they have a much wider level range, so it's a lot less reliable actually getting them at that level. But, oh, dang it, my quick ball failed. But anyway, this Solrock is level 65, so I can go ahead and catch this. As you can see, we can find a lot of interesting Pokemon here that we haven't actually really seen before. Clefairy, probably not so useful. Whoa, that was close, that was very close. And now I can just false swipe it to get it down to 1. That was actually pretty cool. And Solrock is such a weird move pool. It's mostly physical based in terms of stats, but it learns mainly special moves like Fire and Solar Beam and things like that. Yeah, Solrock's just another one of those Pokemon that its move pool doesn't really match its stats, but it could be kind of useful, so I'll go ahead and catch this. Now, there is one Pokemon I definitely want to pick up here. Unfortunately, not only is it very rare, it's also insanely difficult to actually catch. In fact, catching it is probably going to be harder than catching Kyurem will be. I'll just say that now. Yeah. Ugh, I hate those things. Remember when I ran into one of them in, I think, Black 2, and it took me about 30 Dusk Balls to actually catch it? Ugh. Anyway, so, Helios. Maybe I'll use him, maybe not. Oh, well, not so much him, because it's genderless, but anyway. Right then, there is regular grass here. I'm just listing the dark grass levels because that's the only ones that I'm going to go after. Thunderwave and False Swipe is a pretty nice combo that Bisharp can learn, so I'll go ahead and teach it. Cobalion, I believe, already has that combo, or at least I haven't taught False Swipe yet, just because, well, they're considerably lower level than what I'm going to be using them against. Yes, I am totally crazy. I've got something really insane planned for catching Kyurem, because I didn't want it to be too, well, because I, can't get enough of challenging myself in this. Now, you definitely want to explore this area a lot. It's kind of a maze, but there are 2 very, very good TMs you can find here. And that's not one of them, that's just a revive. But there's a lot of good items too, but basically there are 2 TMs here that are amazingly good. And that's not one of them either. You'll basically see them when you see them. Anyway, also be very careful when you jump down ledges, because This area is a bit of a maze, and it can be kind of hard to navigate around certain areas. Okay, let's see if I can... There we go, that's one of them. TM13 Ice Beam. One of the best moves in the game, in my opinion, actually. Definitely going to be wanting to pick that up, considering what we'll be catching in this area. That is a full heal. They're just kind of handing out items in this place. Yeah, Pokemon might still appear in the dark grass, even though I've used a Repel, because I have nothing anywhere close to level 65. They're in Shaking Grass. You can get things like Mamoswine and Metagross here. Yes, wild Metagross. But they're at level 50, which is annoying. And here is the second TM, Psyshock. Another very, very handy TM that is special base, but attacks the opponent's defense stat rather than special defense. Very, very useful in the right situations, which is actually a lot of situations, so I really love that move. I thought it was a great addition. I believe it was only introduced in this generation, actually, Gen 5. Anyway, I want to take this thing out quickly so I can get rid of that Lunatone. Now, at this level, Pillow Swines have Earthquake, so I will want to watch out for that. And they can use it without hitting their partner because it's... Oh, Earthquake! Yeah, what did I say? And this could be very, very bad, because we could potentially both get one-shotted by... Yep! Well... Okay, the level 51 survived, but the other didn't. Although that might have been a critical hit, I can't quite remember what happened. Anyway, Lunatone is nice and paralyzed, so we'll be able to catch it after we've dealt with the stupid, gonna heal after we've dealt with the stupid Pillow Swine. Hopefully it won't Earthquake us again. Yeah, they are pretty strong, and I will admit a Mamoswine would be nice, but, rare candies are a limited resource, and what I'd like to do is catch some of these Pokemon at very high levels and then evolve them with rare candies. That's basically what I'm going to be doing if I can get a tag. I'll use one of my limited, very limited, rare candies to evolve it into a level 66 Metagross, which will certainly be very, very helpful for me in the future. Not very effective attack, another not very effective attack. Let's just wear this thing down a bit. Magic Room. Oh, that's a weird animation. Hold items lost their effects. That's, not really going to be that much of a bad thing, because at worst it'll just get rid of my Smoke Ball, but let's just see if we can bring this thing down a little lower. Don't critical. And just a bit more. Okay, should be ready to catch now. Lunatone is a little bit more, suited to its move pool in terms of stats than Solrock is. It's not the best, but I used one back in 3rd generation. I do like the fact that it gets Hypnosis. Hypnosis and setting up with Calm Mind can be a nice combination. I don't think it learns Power Gem though, which is kind of sad, considering that it would be nice for it to get a special rock move. I believe, as I think Smoggon's creator Pokemon Strata Gem actually showed, Special Rock is actually surprisingly good offensively, or at least it used to be. But anyway, Lunatone is a Pokemon that gains power from the moon. And at this point, I think it's, anyway, I'm gonna go for a, similar name that's not, too obvious. Diana, from the Roman goddess of the moon, I'm pretty sure. Right, now that we've caught those two, there are a few more Pokemon we could catch here, like Ditto. I'll be honest with you, I don't think Ditto is not going to be that... I mean, that was a weird double number. I don't think Ditto is going to be that helpful to me. Like, it would be cool to transform into, let's say, like, the Champions level 70 Pokemon. That would be kind of interesting. But it's, the chance of me actually surviving long enough to actually use that, and... It's probably, and then I'll just be speed tying them. There are very few situations where it's going to be that useful, because the Dittos here are not imposter Dittos, so speaking of which, here's the Ditto here. I mean, the good news is that their level doesn't really matter all that much, apart from HP, but still. I'll try quick balling them where I can, but I'm probably... Whoa, almost used the Master Ball there. Definitely don't want to pull a Twitch Plays Pokemon there. So I believe it was, first time it was used on Zapdos, which was amazing. Then it was used on a Goldeen, I think. And then after that it was wasted on a trainer Zubat. And then after that, I think they did the same thing. Oh, and this is the annoying thing about Dittos, is because when they turn into you, their speed is equal to yours, which means it's very hard for you to run away. And they can turn your own moves against them, like paralyzing you with Thunder Wave. Now, here's the bit where I got kind of confused, because you see, we need to get over there past that ledge, but there seems to be actually no way to get through there. And, in fact, I just looked around just in the hope of finding a Matang, just because a Matang would be pretty nice, but, anyway. Yeah, it looks as though there's actually nowhere to get there, and the thing is, I actually had to look up a guide for this, because I think in my actual physical copy of Black, I never actually caught Kyurem. This is actually my first time actually doing this. I've been in the Giant Chasm to get the TMs and catch Pokemon there, but I haven't actually caught Kyurem before. Just going here to check this out, you see, if we go around here, you'll notice that we want to get to those stairs, but from the looks of things, there's actually no way we can get in there, at all, and in truth, there actually is no way to access that area as of yet. Like, the only way in is blocked by a ledge there. We literally cannot get in there. So, we have to do this one thing that's kind of a bit weird. Guide Dangity. Don't jump down there, because that will just lead you back to the beginning. What we have to do is we have to go through here. And another wild Pokemon. Please be something good. I've already got one of you, so nope. But, anyway. I actually, had to look up a guide for this, because I wasn't actually sure exactly what to do. But basically, you have to get to a certain point in this area. You have to jump one of those ledges, and then you have to use a Max Repel, and then you have to not jump another ledge that's around here, but you have to keep going this way, and then, not that way, almost there, just not quite. Not quite through there. We have to go through... Actually, I think I missed it. Yes, I jumped down the wrong ledge and missed it. This is extremely, hard to find. But basically, we need to get to the exact center of this area. And in order to do that, what we have to do is we have to, not do what past me is... Wow! Okay, I'm just gonna cut. So, the real way we have to do this is we have to go past these two trees here. And after that, we have to go around, here. I had to check the guide just to make sure if you do jump down this ledge or not. You do jump down the ledge. You find a wild Pokemon. No, actually, that's not part of my plan. But, Matang, come on, and not the right level. Yeah, it needs to be 65, sorry. So, running time. Don't want to Matang that's any lower. Anyway, then we have to go past these trees right here, and there we go. And I can't help but think of a certain, at the time of this video, recently released, not released, but, recent Disney movie when I see this sequence now. Don't worry, I'm not going to try and sing the song, but I honestly think of that song whenever I see this moment now. So the whole area is frozen over, but that gives us access to this place, where... Dun dun dun!